Welcome back to the Mega Meeple, the show all about gamers and the games that bring them together. I'm your host, Tom, and I want to thank you for hitting that download button. If you like what you hear, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And while you're there, leave us some kind words and put out some of that 5-star lovin'. And I'll give you a shout out at the next episode. And tell all your friends in your gaming groups about the Mega Meeple. I'd really appreciate it. Get the word out. I'm only one man. I could only do so much. Be sure to connect with me via the Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, etc., 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 yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. You know the ones. And all the links to our social media pages are on the website, www.themegameeple.com. Check out our YouTube channel, where we do some unboxing videos and reviews of games and accessories, as well as some Kickstarter previews. And the link to that is also on our social media page on the website. All right, enough of the intro. Grab a seat at the gaming table, serve up some chips and dip, grab a Mountain Dew, and let's get on with the show. Welcome back this week to the Mega Meeple. As things with life happens as it does, so we're still working on getting an extra mic for us to do the co-host recording live. I managed to get an extra pair of headphones for you, Al, so you're able to hear what the heck it sounds like of what we're doing. But unfortunately, the mic that I'm wanting to get is on back order. So hopefully we'll get that together. But right now, we are recording this episode via phone. How you doing this week, Al?
I'm doing okay. We got delayed a little bit on my start back to work, so Tom was nice enough to arrange this as an extended, phone interview / talk over the phone type process this week. Hopefully we'll be able to get back into the studio again next week.
And I've been busy doing phone interviews with various people. And of course, timing, Murphy's Law being what it is. And it's like, all right, the month that I've had rather substantial dental work done, and I'm still getting used to it, that's the month that all these interviews are being scheduled. So I hope, I think I sound at least somewhat able
audible.
to understand. Yeah, audible. But yes, it's like trying to make do with what I can. At least the people that I'm interviewing, you're able to understand what they're saying. But
it kind of sucks how real life kind of intrudes into the fun and situation of gaming, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but we got in the can, we got enough interviews to last us at least another month. So for those of you who interviewed, if you're listening to this and wondering, hey, where's my interview? Don't worry, you'll hear it between now and a month from now. We got people who have live Kickstarters going on right now. We want to try to get those out there and let you hear from them about that before their Kickstarter ends. And then we have other, like next week, will be our Halloween edition episode, and we have a special guest that fits right in with that. So yeah, we got 4 interviews in the can, and we got at least one more that this person is at Essen right now. They've already left to go to Germany just to be there and set up and be ready for what they need to do out there.
I've always wanted to go there. Haven't been able to pull that off yet, but that would be a fun visit.
Yeah,
do that one day. Bucket list.
Yeah, that's something like that would be. And for me, being really a good percentage German, I mean, what the part of me that's not Irish, I'd like to go to Germany, and so yeah, I would want to go not just for Essen, but I would need to stay for like a week outside of that, just for a weekend, because I want to visit all the castles.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a similar heritage. I'm German and Scots-Irish.
German and Irish, and both sides like to drink. So,
all right, enough of this real life stuff.
yeah. So I'll be contacting that person once they get back from Essen, and hopefully get them interviewed as well. So, but one of the things I'm really impressed by is, some of the people that I've reached out to, like Jamie Stegmeyer. We have I still have my second interview with Jamie in the can. That I'll probably put that out sometime in November. I think by Thanksgiving I'll put that in as part of but that's already been recorded. I think as the Charterstone release date gets nearer, we'll put Jamie's second appearance on the podcast. But people like Jamie and have them say, "Yeah, we'll be on your podcast." And I'm like, "Wow, really?"
Are you sure you know what you're getting into?
Yeah, but each one that I've talked to, after we're done with the interview, they've all said, "Hey, we appreciate what you're doing. Keep it up. Consistency is key, and good things will come." And both a good luck and a congratulations of good luck for the future, and congratulations on doing what we do and just making it happen rather than just sitting around and thinking about it.
I like one of the things I like about your interviews, Tom, is that you managed to kind of get across the gamut. So you've dealt with publishers, you've with some designers. One of the ones that you're getting ready to play today is a guy who's been looking to try to develop within the Kickstarter realm. A good friend of mine, Andrew Haigh. His travail through Kickstarter has been interesting over a significant period of time. I've been kind of watching as he's been going along and how that works out for him as a kind of a individual trying to break into the process.
Yeah, and one of the things that and you'll hear in the interview in a few moments, Andrew has he's British, and so he speaks. I joke around with him. He speaks the proper English,
the Queen's English.
Yes, rather than the stuff that I spout out. Yes, stay tuned for the second half of this episode, because we'll actually introduce some prim and proper and some class into the episode.
As opposed to the two of us. Yep, I got you.
But Andrew's a neat guy. So you'll hear we talked about his Kickstarter, how he came up with the idea, and we also talk about, just briefly, we talk about what's better, American pizza or British pizza, if British pizza is even a thing. And yeah. So stay tuned to hear Andrew's answer on that, because everybody wants to know that. Speaking of Kickstarter, we made a joke a few episodes back, I guess 2 or 3 episodes back, about there should be like a support group for people that need to recover from Kickstarter. And and in Kickstarter itself even says as a disclaimer, is like, all right, look, Kickstarter is not a store, but there is an aspect of Kickstarter that if you want the completest, we have the neatest stuff, either the neatest stuff or the most exclusive stuff or the most complete stuff. And if anything and everything that can make that game play better or add more content or make it look prettier, we want it all. And
we're willing to pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, I've learned, because when I first got back on my feet financially, it was like, you know what? I've gone without for so long. It's like, all right, I had the attitude of like, I'm not going to deny myself anything. So I just went out and it's like, like for example, I went to your store there in Pineville, Carolina Tabletop Games, and I remember Rob had to get one of the huge boxes out from the back of one of the shipments that he got to put all the games in that I bought.
We remember that day well, actually, Tom.
I think you got to close early that day, didn't you?
Probably should have, yeah.
But so as time has worn on, it's like, okay, well, I'm looking at these two big shelves that I got in the room here, and it's like, all right, there's not much room left for much more, and I already have like maybe half a dozen other Kickstarter games coming out that I've backed, that's going to be released, or at least hopefully delivered over the next year. I'd like to talk about two things, basically, is how can we as gamers sort of like keep that thing in check, lest we risk our wallet and or our marriages, our
jobs.
And also, it's like, all right, in the world of instant gratification, where we want something now, and due to internet and social media and Twitter and stuff like that, where we get a lot of our information immediately, like within the few minutes of something happening, and fast food and overnight express and the same day delivery. How do we contend with, okay, we've backed this project, we forked over our money, now we have to wait, and maybe next year, how do we pan that time of waiting, or is it like, I've gotten to the point, it's like, okay, I just consider, okay, the money's pledged, it's gone, with the exception of a few of the updates that I get in an email. I just pretty much try to keep those games out of my mind. So it's like, okay, well, when it comes in the mail, it will be a pleasant surprise rather than, as soon as you order something. I remember back when I've always wanted a Rickenbacker bass. And I remember when I finally got back on my feet, that was one of the first things I ordered. And it was like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but it was like, okay, I ordered it. Not even an hour or two later, I'm checking the status of the order to see if they fulfilled it yet and have a tracking number. It's like, and then when I got the tracking number, I'm every once in a while, I was like, okay, I'm looking out the window. I'm going to the FedEx or the USPS and thing. I was like, okay, where's that package now? So, how do we navigate through all those things with what we've been conditioned to do or be like as a society of, wanting everything yesterday?
Well, I think that the Kickstarter supplies two things that give you the plus that the minus of the having to wait for kind of balances. And the pluses are, one is exclusivity. There are going to be some games that are just simply going to be Kickstarter only. They're not going to be retail. So if you're interested in the game and you're interested in the theme, well, you're going to have to wait. But there it is. At least you're going to be able to play the game that they're explaining to you. Yeah, that's one thing. But the other thing is kind of like you just talked about, the customization. So if you see the Kickstarter was adding say miniatures to the game that would normally come with just cardboard pieces or whatever, or meeples, or just something that kind of spiffs it up. Again, if it's your cup of tea, it's something you're going to be willing both to pay for and to wait for. I guess it's the balance of getting exactly what you want versus when you want to get it.
Now, there are some companies that do Kickstarter that it's almost a foregone conclusion that it's going to fund. And it's going to fund really quick. But I know there are some people that I've talked to in some of my RPG and other gaming groups. There are some companies that they don't need anybody's help to fund a project. Just the fact that their name is attached to the side of the box, people are going to buy it. It's like Apple. There are people that it doesn't matter how new their phone is, they're going to upgrade to the newest phone when it comes out, and they're going to pay whatever.
The brand is good enough, right? I gotcha.
Yeah. So, what do you think about these companies that have the resources and they have the notoriety, and they have the, I guess, the assurance that, people are going to buy a crap ton of these games, but yet they can still go through Kickstarter.
Well, I can't say that I blame them, and they do put the resources into it. A lot of these places will put, real marketing resources into their Kickstarter. But with a Kickstarter, you're getting an investment from the people themselves who are actually going to purchase the game. So you can scale your order, and you can scale the amount of you do on your first printing based on with real knowledge. You know exactly what's going to come through. So I get that point of view, and I understand it. What concerns me to a certain extent is how that has overwhelmed the individual. It used to be that Kickstarter was supposed to be about the individual developer who has a great idea and wants to have people help him out make his vision come true. Games like Alien Frontiers, when they first came out, that's what that was all about. If somebody had a great idea for a game, they didn't necessarily have a publisher or a developer attached to it, but they wanted to go out to the world and say, hey, here we go. This is going to be a great game, but the only way we're going to be able to publish it is with your help. And that's getting kind of lost in the picture now with these companies that, bring their entire force of marketing and so forth into play. It kind of drowns out the individual, and I think that's a bit of a shame.
That's why you need to listen to this interview with Andrew Haigh, the second half of this episode. He is a representation of exactly what you're talking about. Is one person with a dream.
Yep, and, the guy in the woods. You got it.
Yeah, and
it's hard. It's hard to get. Andrew works very hard. He goes out to most of the conventions that he can reach out to, and he play tests. I mean, he puts his heart and soul into it, and it's tough because he's up against big money. So I give him big points for working that process through and trying to fulfill his dream.
Yeah, definitely. It's a neat opportunity for those in the local area that will be there at the Carolina Tabletop Games. It will be November 4th and 5th. So it'll be 12 noon Saturday to 12 noon Sunday. And
24 hours of gaming. Woohoo!
Yes. And actually, according to my little calendar here, that's the same weekend of daylight savings. So what is it?
That's right.
Spring forward, fall back.
So it's actually 25 hours of gaming.
So, according to your watch, it will be 24 hours, but according to your body, it will be 25 hours. Right. So let's see who can last that long. But for those of you who are going to be there, yeah, we got a unique, cool opportunity for you guys. I want you to tell us about that.
The shop will be open in Pineville for, like Tom said, 25 hours. Generally, it's going to be a $15 fee to get into the store for that 24-hour period in order to raise money for charity for the local children's hospital, Levine Hospital. And also, any purchases during that time, 10% of the profits will be also provided as part of the process. And we're tied in with the Queen City Game Club and the Waldhorn Restaurant. Any $15 purchase towards getting into their location also will go pertain to allowing you to get into the game store as well. Also, I think what Tom and I are considering doing is if we're going to try to be there during a fair portion of that time, and we hope to kind of interview a few people about their style and love of game and how they tie in community and charity into their gaming by being there at the store during that day. So if you're looking forward to kind of discussing gaming style and how you feel like the gaming world and being able to help out your community, if you're willing to talk about that, we'd love to talk to you during that day. So grab us by a lasso, and we'll be glad to talk to you.
Yes, definitely. And I think we'll have more concrete details as far as what the times will be, as far as when we'll be there. Recording be a guest spot on the podcast. So who knows?
Now, last year, Tom tried to go for the full 20 whatever hours, or actually, I think it was 30 hours last year, and by the time morning rolled around, Tom was like, "Yeah, not so much."
So you late nighters, if you have nothing to do, you might want to, before the sun comes up, you may want to boogie over to the store and try to get on the show, on the podcast, because I make no guarantees or promises that I'll be even able to create a thought, let alone voice that thought in some coherent way.
Yeah.
As the hours roll on.
Understood.
And then,
just give you a hard time there, Tom.
Yeah. And then the following weekend, also for those in the Carolinas, the following weekend is NACE.
Yep.
And I think I managed to sign up for. I think I'm playing 2 games. I'm GMing at least 3 or 4, and then the times that I'm not doing that, I'm going to be around interviewing some of the vendors. I know I'll be taking my video equipment as well and doing some demo videos. I know I get to cut out for the people who created Hull Breach, which is a really neat. So, like, if war was taking place in outer space, what would it be like? And it's a card game. So I'm interviewing those guys.
And that's another group of guys who are trying to, do their dream, and they go to each convention and try to make that work for them. Again, just like Tom, I really respect their efforts there.
Yes, definitely. On-site interviews going on there, and some videos, recording demo videos for the YouTube channel. Yeah, I think after that, by that point, we'll have something in plan of what we're going to do for the holidays. So, but we got enough material coming to last us a good month and a half. So stay tuned. Welcome back to the Mega Meeple. We have a local person here that if you are in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, you might have seen him at the local game store having a new game that he has created and designed, play tested. And you may have been one of the play testers in this game. And so today we are talking to Andrew Haigh, who has a game on Kickstarter called Pizza World. Now, who doesn't like pizza? So how you doing, Andrew?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
No problem. How do you get started in gaming, or your interest in gaming? How did that all start out?
Oh, it's one of those things. You play, if you have a problem with my accent, yes, I'm originally from England. Came over 18 years ago via Long Island, New York, where I didn't pick up that accent either.
Okay, so you kept the accent. So well, that's good, because we get to bring some class and proper English to a show like this. Because Lord knows I butchered the English accent or language pretty much every episode. But yeah, very, very, very cool. Yeah, so you've been in. So how long have you been in the States?
Almost 20 years now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So to your question, ever since I was a kid, I was playing board games, and I have the kind of mind that says, "That's nice, but what if?"
Right.
So I have, a library, a filing cabinet full of variations on a theme. This started off as basically Settlers of Catan was a nice game, no fighting. I wanted fighting. I wanted to have, disputed areas of control. So I didn't want to do the natural thing of copying the same resources and being, accused of, just being a copycat. So I originally came up with the idea of pizzas and pizza ingredients and toppings. And to make the fighting fun, we were going to have food fights.
Oh, okay.
So I started off with a hex tile, a hex board like Catan, which is 3 a side. And to make it more interesting, I made it 4 a side. And then to make it look pizza-ish, I had a frame put around it. So it's now in a circular frame.
Okay, like it's sitting in the pan?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I play tested this at Carolina Tabletop and the Belmont pub before that place turned up, the idea was they loved the mechanism. The theme didn't make any sense. So the mechanism is now sitting on the side. It's now called City State, and it's in development. So I was sitting there basically with a circular frame with a whole bunch of pizza bases, tomato, cheese, and dough, and toppings. And originally I only had 1 topping, and then it grew to 2, and now it's at 3. So I have pepper, pepperoni, and mushroom. And so I had all these ingredients, and I had all these pieces, and I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, what am I supposed to do with this? And it struck me that what I haven't ever developed or whatever I haven't designed is a set collection game. So I started to put together, moving around the board, putting markers down on ingredients. And when you have the appropriate set of ingredients, you can then say, I claim, 3 pepperoni or 3 cheese, or I claim a pizza with mushroom topping. And it sort of grew from that. It basically grew out of necessity. I had these components. What do I do with them? So that's where the sort of set collection came in. And it sort of morphed from that. A lot of other things have been added. But that's generally, where the sort of base of the game came from.
Well, it sounds like it certainly works. It makes sense because, you have other established board games out there that are like, that the names escape me right now. But, there's like a vineyard winery game, and there's a Bob Burgers, I think it's called, or something with hamburgers, and one with coffee. And so, right. Why wouldn't we have one about pizza? Now, you said that the pizza world had come out of when you're developing another game, and then the mechanics of that one game you kind of like put on the back burner or something like that. So could that be maybe the birthings of a second game that will be come out that you later develop?
Yeah, I was last year at Carolina Con and Con Carolina and Mace. Mm-hmm. I was actually demoing both games. I was demoing Pizza World and City State. And I got to the point where I sort of said to myself, I'm not really doing either game justice because I'm not putting my energy into the games to actually make them go anywhere.
Right.
So City State it's close, but it needs work. So I pushed that to one side. And this year I focused completely on Pizza World, in getting the art sorted out, in getting the mechanism sorted out. And basically, pushing Pizza World. And when that is out the way, then I can go back to doing, other things.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure I focused on one game and get that sorted out. Otherwise, it's multitasking. You can never dedicate enough energy to a project if you're always switching, between them. So,
right. So when you play these or demo them at Con Carolina and Mace, what was the reaction that you got from it?
Everybody loved it. It's a really simple game. I don't know if you know Robert Hartzell, his son. He plays the game. I've got my parents who play and they never play. I've got my wife playing and she never plays.
Oh.
So it's a game grandmother can play with grandsons. I can actually cite two people that do that. It's an entry game, so it's not complicated. I've kept the art simple, so if you look at the game, you'll see that it's very symbolic. There's a picture of a tomato sliced. There's a picture of a mushroom sliced. I haven't done anything fancy, so people looking at the game and looking at the cards can go, oh, what is on my card is on the tile. There's no fancy graphics. I wanted to make it as obvious as possible. So there's no sort of artist rendering. It's a very simple, this is a tomato, this is what it looks like, and this is the shape you're looking for on the tile and on the card, which is why I think everybody can pick up the game, because there's no great learning process.
Yeah, it's not a steep learning curve. It looks to be from what I would tell from the Kickstarter page, and of course we'll have the link to the Kickstarter page in the show notes of this episode, so you can click on that and go check it out. Like you were saying, it's multi-generational. We could play it, our kids could play it, our parents, our grandparents could pick it up and learn it and play it. That's one of the things that I really like when I see a game that's able to cross that many generations and able to get everybody to the table and actually, because we see a lot of times, people, at the dinner table or at a restaurant and everybody's staring at their phones. But, when you get something like a game like this, that can get families together, sitting down and actually interacting with each other and looking at each other, in the eyes and talking to each other rather than staring at a phone all the time. Something like this can definitely build some memories and, get the families together that may not necessarily sit together down for a game. Or if they do, they're thinking, Monopoly or something like that.
I mean, the other sort of, quote, family game is Monopoly. Every time I've spoken to people about Monopoly, they tell me how many times their family has fought over the game and why they don't play it anymore. And I'm like, you don't do that in Pizza World. You don't fight. Occasionally somebody will grab the ingredient you want before you. But as soon as they've claimed the card, that tile becomes free again. So there's no territory or area control that lasts the game. It's until they cash in the card, and then that tile becomes free again. And it's not a long-standing dispute. There's a minor, you took my tile. Oh, you freed it up. Great. I can now do what I want to do. So yes, it's definitely a family game, 30 to 40 minutes at most. And some of that is actually setting up the board. So, I mean, it's a really quick game. And as I say, it's not controversial. And, it's a lot of fun.
Now, not to pile more work into your plate there, or pizza plate there, but I'm just thinking as we're talking about this, I'm thinking, do you think maybe there'll be like an expansion later on to introduce like vegetarian pizzas?
Because I've got people who talk to me and they go, I don't like pepperoni or I don't like mushroom. And it's like, okay, I can introduce new cards to support new ingredients. I may have to change, some of the other cards. One of the other things that's nice about it is it's basically base ingredients and toppings. Well, if you're starting to talk about base ingredients and toppings, you've got ice cream. You've got a whole bunch of things that, it doesn't just have to be pizza with an expansion of pizza toppings. We can actually change the food group completely and go into desserts. So that entire mechanism can now be, morphed into something else. And I think they're equally fun. You could have, we're going to play Pizza World before dinner, and then we're going to play Ice Cream World afterwards, because that's dessert.
What can you tell more in detail what the different mechanisms are in Pizza World and what the winning condition in the game?
Okay, sure. So there is, as I mentioned, there's a circular frame, and it's based around a hexagon. So in the corners are pizza ovens, and you basically move your pawn around the tiles inside the frame. If they're face down, you turn them face up, or you can move on to a face up tile. Every tile, there are tomato, cheese, and dough. There are 6 of those each. And then there's pepper, pepperoni, and mushroom. And there are 4 of those each. And as you move onto a tile, if you like whatever that ingredient is, you can put a marker down on it. I'm hoping if I get enough Kickstarter people, then those markers will actually be molded plastic pizza slices. I've 3D modeled those, and I can only churn out so many 3D pieces on my printer at a time. So I'm hoping that, with a Kickstarter, I can get a mold created. Every player has green cards, which are personal goals, and they're generally collect 3 of a kind, or 2 of a kind. So collect 2 toppings or 3 base pieces.
Okay.
And then there are yellow ones, which are shared or common, and they are pizza, so cheese, tomato, dough, plus toppings. And it's either 1 topping, 2 toppings, or 3 toppings, and they could be mixed. And the points are allocated accordingly. So as you mark the tiles, when you have enough, you actually cash in those tiles and claim one of the cards that are out on display. The player's deck also has substitute ingredient cards. So if you have 4, 5, or 6 players, there aren't enough tiles on the board. So what I've done is I've put together some sort of folklore. The ingredients on the board are organic, and the substitute are processed. So I don't have enough cheese. I don't have enough organic cheese, so I'm going to go and get, something from the deli or something from the packaged aisle to make my 3 cheese. If you use organic, they're positive points. If you use one of these substitutes, then that's actually a negative score. But it means that you can go through the cards quicker. Also, in the game, if you wish to use them, are red cards, and they're played immediately as soon as you get them. And what they do is they will clear, say you turn over the red tomato, it will clear all of the tomatoes. So anybody who's got a marked tomato, you get your marker back. And it's a sort of disruptive aspect. You don't have to play with it. It's completely optional. It's just there, just to make it slightly more interesting.
Okay.
So the base,
like a take that mechanic?
It's sort of a take that, but it's not at anybody in particular, and you don't know you're getting it. So it's a sort of game doing a take that to you, to the players.
All right.
So the base mechanic is you have the cards that you're trying to collect ingredients for to either cash in personal shopping lists, which is two or three components, 2 or 3 ingredients, or you're trying to collect for pizzas with toppings. The very base mechanic is as soon as you have the ingredients and you claim the card, you turn the tiles over. This becomes a memory game. So you play those, you lay the cards out and you turn over 2 at a time, and if they match, you take them.
Right.
This is a similar sort of aspect. It's for people who don't really want to play a massive mechanic. So it's basically a memory game. Where was the last time I saw cheese? And you go running across the board in that particular direction to go and claim the cheese.
Okay.
So that's the base mechanic, and that's ideal for playing with youngsters because they don't want to do anything complicated. So playing a quick set collection memory game with them, that's fun. The next level up is we actually have a tile extra sitting on the side. We pick up the tiles, we add that extra on, we shuffle them, and we put them back. Now you don't know where those ingredients were.
Okay.
And that makes the game slightly more interesting because now it's not a memory game anymore. You know that, there was a cheese that was picked up, but it could be in one of, say, 4 positions on the board. You don't know exactly where it went down.
Oh.
And then the last one is we have 2 tiles on the side. One of them is a multiple ingredient tile, which is used in the second level. And the other tile is what we call the oops tile. And if you tread on that, we do a random shuffle of 4 tiles on the board. So that just makes it slightly more interesting because now the game, again, is shuffling the tiles for you.
Okay. So that definitely introduces some replayability. So it's not like, you play this once and that's it. You have a different pizza each time you play and you don't know where the toppings are.
Right. I mean, the initial board is a random distribution of tiles. So every time you play, there's a different setup. The cards are dealt to you from the deck, and you don't know what you're getting. The shared cards, there's 18 of them, so that's 3 for 6 players. So if you've only got 4 players, I still only deal 3 per player. So you don't know which 3 is being dealt, on your behalf. You only see 4 of them at a time. And so if you've got 2 players, you've got 6 cards, and you've got 6 out of 18. And the points on those cards range from 10 to 22. So you may not get the high cards. So you're looking at grabbing these pizzas with toppings in the hopes of getting, the next one to be a high card point, and it might not be in that game you're playing.
Okay.
So you never actually know what strategy to pick because you don't know what cards are going to come out.
Okay.
So that was another thing that I did was rather than every game always having the same cards, I made it so that the cards that you're playing with in any particular game are basically random. So it makes the strategy of play work sometimes for some people, but not work other times. So,
okay.
I've not found a good strategy yet, and I've played it a good number of times.
And you created it, so.
Yeah, I mean, every time I think I've got the strategy down, the cards come out against me, and I'm like, you know what? I give up. I'm just going to play for fun.
That's very cool. Now, for people listening, kind of time this episode, if you might be listening months and months down the road, the Kickstarter is live until, I think it's November 13th. Is that correct?
Yes, it's the Monday after Mace 2017.
So again, we'll put a link to the Kickstarter page, and go and check that out and back it. So it's definitely, like I said, who doesn't like pizza? Now, if people want to find out more about Pizza World, or even just you as a game creator, where can they go?
Okay, I have a Facebook page, Andrew Haigh Games, Haigh Games. My Twitter is at @HA_HAIGH. I also have a WordPress site, which is pizzaworldboardgame.wordpress.com. On there, you'll see all the cards, all the rules, playthroughs. I need to actually update some of the playthroughs on the WordPress site. There's a full 2-player, 1 round each playthrough on Kickstarter. So hopefully everybody will get enough information for, how fun it is to play from all of that information. So.
Okay, great.
So if you happen to be in and around Charlotte, the weekend of the 11th November, which happens to be my wedding anniversary, sorry dear, come along, and I'll be there with Pizza World. I'll be the guy with the giant inflatable pizza slice next to my table.
All right.
That's my gimmick.
Yeah, that's Mace. That's going to be November 10th, 11th, and 12th. All right. One quick question, Andrew. Which is best, American pizza or British pizza?
Oh, American.
American, okay.
I mean, British don't know. British pizza is, I hate to say this, it's Domino's, it's Pizza Hut. There is no such thing as a British pizza. Now, if you were to ask me the difference between Chicago and New York.
Okay. Well, we won't miss it, yeah.
The difference between a flatbread or a flat pizza and a deep dish. I actually like both, so
there we go.
I'll try and please everybody. My wife's in New York, so I have to side on the New York side most of the time.
There we go. Well, thank you so much, Andrew, for coming on the show. And for people in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, if you go to Mace, check out Andrew. He'll be demoing Pizza World there. And also, if you meet him at one of the local game stores, go up and say hi to him. So he's very, very friendly, very nice guy. So thank you so much, Andrew, for coming on. Appreciate it very much.
I'm either at the Carolina Tabletop down in Pineville. Occasionally, I'm in Park Urbana in Cornelius. Very occasionally, I'm Mighty Meeple and Concord. And this last week, I was out at Monster, the Comic Monster, out in Salisbury.
Yeah, we live in a real good, they say location. We have the benefit of living in an area that, like, within an hour's drive, there's a good, at least a half a dozen, maybe, I'm sure more, good gaming stores that we could go to.
Yeah, I have a personal favorite, which would be Carolina Tabletop, because of Rob and the family.
Yeah.
I'm more likely to be seen there. Again, if you want to see me at Mace, just look for the giant pizza slice, inflatable pizza slice.
Excellent.
And that'll be me. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for listening. Now, if you have any ideas or suggestions of what you want to hear about, or maybe a topic of discussion about board games, or if you yourself as a game creator and you have a Kickstarter and want to be a guest on the Mega Meeple to talk about your game, you can contact me through the website at themegameeple.com and go to the Contact Us page. Also, if you'd like to support the show with a small donation, you can go to the Patreon page and donate $1 a month or so. It will really help out with the hosting costs and such. So thanks again for listening, and tell all your friends and share with your friends this episode if you think they'll like it. And until next week, this is Tom saying, game on.